when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic households. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed.
Look, I think Sunny Hostin's lack of logic here is what's fundamentally flawed. Just keeping it real. It's somewhat strange how triggered she is by the notion that we should focus economic policies on class rather than identity like race.
Anna Kasparian has been seemingly getting red-pilled as time goes on, and she's really going against everything that she used to believe in, all of the opinions that she used to spew out there on the Young Turks. People like Cenk Uygur are not liking it so much because Cenk understands that all of their fans are leftist, but this time Anna Kasparian is going after The View once again for bringing on this author on their show, and Sunny Hostin directly calling him a charlatan, calling him a pawn of the right wing on her show simply because he doesn't think people should be judged based on the color of their skin. And it's wild to me how the side of racial equality and all of this nonsense that they spew out there and don't actually back up, they don't even have any actual real opinions, they just like how it sounds coming out of their mouth. Whenever someone actually goes on The View and tells Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar to their face that there should be no judgment based on the color of their skin, then they have a meltdown, call the guy a charlatan, and now we have Anna Kasparian reacting to it. And surprisingly, Anna Kasparian is on my side, is on our side. So anyway, let's get into this video here of Anna Kasparian just absolutely shredding the host of The View, Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Joy Behar. Let's check this out.
Many in the black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here.
Political author and analyst Coleman Hughes was recently met with some intense hostility, specifically from Sunny Hostin on The View, as he appeared on the show to promote his new book, The End of Race Politics: Arguments for a Colorblind America. At a time when the culture in America has essentially rejected colorblindness, instead embracing an almost obsessive focus on race and how we differ from one another, I honestly wasn't shocked that he was met with that kind of vitriol. We'll get back to that portion of the exchange in just a minute. But first, I do think it's actually important to understand Coleman as a person and the argument he's trying to make. In the interest of full disclosure, though, I do have to admit that I'm a fan of Coleman's, even though he and I have some disagreements. He's more supportive of Israel's war on Gaza, as an example. On some issues, he definitely leans to the right of me. But I actually find him to be thoughtful. He makes thought-provoking arguments in good faith. And I don't know about you, but I've been increasingly bored with shows that have default ideological talking points that hosts never deviate from. It's
clear that she's getting bored of that. It's clear that Anna Kasparian's getting bored of that. And we need more people like Anna Like, I never thought in a million years that Anna Kasparian would be one to wake up and start to realize how crazy the world has gotten. But it's very clear, like, she is bored of these shows who are just echo chambers. And it's great to see. We need more people like Anna Kasparian. Like, for a while, I had totally given up hope of any of these wokies waking up and realizing at least some of their own stuff, you know, poo doesn't stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least she's waking up a little bit. Obviously, she's not all the way red-pilled. And let me know in the comments if you think she's being genuine or not with her, you know, red-pilledness recently. But we need more people like, you know, to call out the woke nonsense like Anna Kasparian.
Mindless snooze fest. Sometimes Coleman's analysis on certain current events challenge my own, and I find that to be a good thing. We should all be willing to challenge and reevaluate our own beliefs without assuming the one challenging us is some grifter or right-wing pawn. I think it makes us smarter and mentally stronger. Now, with that out of the way, let's hear Coleman out on the direction he believes policy should go in America.
The default right now in a lot of areas of policy is to use, you know, black and Hispanic identity as a proxy for disadvantage. And my argument is that you actually get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income. That picks out people in a more accurate way.
Not my question, but when you say that socioeconomics picks out people in a better way than race, when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic households. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed.
It doesn't. The thing is, it doesn't have a place. I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be Anna's video where she breaks it apart, but like, it's just so dumb. Why, if we're trying to help people who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, wouldn't the best metric to look at for helping those people be their socioeconomic status? Why, if we're trying to specifically help people who are poor, why the hell would we look at what color they are to determine if they're poor and need help or not? Why not instead just look at if they're poor or not? How is that so, like, how is that so mind-blowing? I don't, like, it's just so damn simple, man. But these people, they desperately want to make it about race. These people like The View, Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, the rest of them, they have to make it about race or else they don't have a job. That's the only reason why they have to do that. And honestly, I think they're getting paid off by somebody. I think there's no way that people actually watch The View. Like, there's no way that enough people watch The View that aren't hate watchers to keep them on air. They must be getting paid off by someone to spew these talking points. That's the only way.
Look, I think Sunny Hostin's lack of logic here is what's fundamentally flawed. Just keeping it real. It's somewhat strange how triggered she is by the notion that we should focus economic policies on class rather than identity like race. I assure you there are plenty of poor people of all races in America. However, she herself is a wealthy woman of color, so maybe class-based issues don't appeal to her the same way as they would for the working poor in America. And while it is true that Black and Latino Americans are more economically disadvantaged on average, it's also true that class-based policies would disproportionately benefit their lives without leaving poor white Americans behind. Why is that a bad thing? Don't we want to see all of our fellow Americans succeed, regardless of religion, race, gender, sexual orientation, etc.?
You see, Anna Kasparian, me and you, yes, we want all of our fellow Americans to succeed and to live a life that's worth living, of course. The View, Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, even a lot of people who work for the Young Turks, they don't want that though. They don't want the white people to succeed. Like that's just what it comes down to. You know, I would love to hear another explanation. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. What other explanation is there for Sunny Hostin, who was, like Anna Kasparian just said, a rich person of color? What other explanation is there for Sunny Hostin to not want to, you know, for the socioeconomic status, class, whatever you want to call it, to be the main factor in determining if someone needs financial help from the government or not? Why does she so desperately want it to be a race thing when it doesn't have to be a race thing, and when race isn't even the most effective thing to look at to determine if someone needs help? Why else? What other reason other than she just doesn't want white people to get help? What other reason is there? You know, so that's another thing that's just, anybody with common sense out there like Anna Kasparian is being forced to wake up, literally being unplugged by force. Because if you have any sort of common sense in your head, you realize the stuff that Sunny Hostin is saying is like, I mean, very, very racist. Like, it's just straight up is racist.
Class-based economic policies have more buy-in among voters and tend to be harder to repeal because they're applied to everyone impacted by poverty. Coleman managed to maintain his composure, something that he's insanely skilled in, and responded, in my opinion, perfectly.
There's two separate questions. One is whether each racial group is socioeconomically the same. That I agree with you. They're not.
Yeah, they're not, and the stats show that.
But yeah, of course, I agree with that fully. The question is, how do you address that in the way that actually targets poverty the best?
Great.
And what Martin Luther King wrote in his book, Why We Can't Wait, is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor, but it will be doing so in a way that also helps the white poor, in a way that addresses poverty as the thing to be addressed.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
He's right. I mean, I think he makes really good points there. But look, maybe Sunny Hostin has a counterpoint that we haven't even considered. So let's keep an open mind and give her a chance to respond.
You claim that color blindness was the goal of the civil rights movement, based upon Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, content of character versus the color of skin. He also said in 1968, it was about less than a week before he was assassinated, this country never stops to realize that they owe a people kept in slavery for 244 years. So rather than class, he did write about that earlier on. Right before his death, he made the argument for racial equality and racial reparations. And so your argument for color blindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted.
The quote that you just pointed out about doing something special for the Negro, that's from the book Why We Can't Wait that I just mentioned.
Yes.
A couple paragraphs later, he lays out exactly what that something special was, and it was the Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged, a broad class-based policy.
But he also says you must include race.
No, he didn't. He says it's
he does.
Okay, well, everyone should go read the book Why We Can't Wait.
I gotta say, I mean, I didn't notice until this very moment, but the fact that she's rejecting class-based politics while wearing a Gucci button down and a Gucci belt is hilarious. But nonetheless, disagreements about MLK tend to, drive me crazy. But Coleman is correct to point out the class-based politics that the civil rights leader espoused. In fact, mainstream discussions about MLK tend to leave out his views on class politics.
And this is one of those moments that, like I said, forces you to be unplugged. Like if you're Anna Kasparian, if you're someone like Cenk Uygur, if you have any sort of common sense in your brain, like this is the kind of thing that forced Joe Rogan to wake up a long time ago, or Russell Brand to wake up a long time ago. Now we have Anna Kasparian waking up now. And once again, let me know if you think it's genuine, because I'm still not 100% sure if she's just trying to ride the wave that she knows is coming, or if she truly is just waking up. I think if you have any sort of common sense, like personally, I'm leaning towards the side of Anna Kasparian being genuine. But let me know in the comments what you think. And if you have any sort of common sense in your head, this is one of those moments where you just realize, wait, I'm a part of this group of people that is rejecting class-based policies, that's rejecting looking at socioeconomic status for determining if someone needs help with their financial situation. Like, it's crazy to me. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this video. What do you think about Anna Kasparian's reaction? What do you think about Anna Kasparian being red-pilled recently? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about the whole thing. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.